Hey guys, Mrs. Kaufman here. How are you? I hope you had a good weekend. I would like you to take a minute to do this Common Core quick check. I want you to use the work backwards strategy to solve exercises 1 through 3. Okay, so let's take a minute to do that. Goodness. Silly. Okay, now that you finished that, you can check and see if you got the correct answer. So our essential question for this unit, or this chapter rather, is how do you determine if two numbers or expressions are equal? So I want you to keep that in mind as we go through the lesson. So today we're going to solve multiplication equations by dividing and using a bar diagram. Here's our state standards. So we're going to learn about the division property of equality. So I would like you to take a minute and to write that in your notebook. Okay, the division property of equality states if you divide each side of an equation by the same non-zero number, the two sides remain equal. So for example, 18 equals 18. If we divide one side by 6, we would need to divide the other side by 6 and get 3 equals 3. The same rule kind of applies, excuse me, if there's a variable instead. 3x equals 12. If we divide 3x by 3, then we would need to divide 12 by 3 to keep them even, and we get a total of x equals 4. Solve 2x equals 10. Check your solution. Now I think it's important to recognize right here that this is really saying 2 times x, but we don't have to have a dot or a little tiny x or anything to demonstrate that anymore. We now can read 2 times x equals 10 and just know that that's what that means. So 2x equals 10, and we're going to divide each side by 2. 2 being the coefficient. And coefficient is the number in front of the variable. So 2x, if we divide that by 2, we get just plain x. And if we divide 10 by 2, we get 5. Think of kind of like when we're dividing fractions and things can cancel each other out. That's kind of what happened here. The 2's cancel each other out because we're changing it from multiplication to division. So 2x equals 10. We found out x equals 5. So if we substitute the 5 for the x, we would have 2 times 5. Does that equal 10? Yes, 10 equals 10. This sentence is true. Okay, let's give it a go. Solve 3x equals 6 and check your solution. 3x equals 6. 3x divided by what? Equals 3. I'm sorry, 3x equals 6. If we divide this side by 3, we have to divide this side by 3. X equals 2. Okay, so we divide each side by the coefficient 3, which then it cancels each other out because we're doing the inverse operation of multiplication. Let's take the x and substitute in the 2 because we found out that x equals 2. Does 3 times 2 equal 6? Yes, 6 equals 6, so this is true. Oh goodness, let's give it a minute while we wait for the computer to... Oh goodness. Looks like we might be having a computer difficulty. Let me try going back. Okay, that one worked. Let's try going forward again. Here we go, so slow. Oh goodness. There we go. Okay, Vicente and some friends shared the cost of a package of blank CDs. The package cost $24 and each person contributed $6. How many people shared the cost of the CDs? Okay, first things first. Words. The amount each contributed times number of people equals the cost of the CDs. Let X represent the number of people that contributed money. Here we write it as a bar diagram. The whole amount was $24. A piece of the amount, oh goodness, a piece of the amount is $6, and we need to know what the whole rest of the amount is. So our equation is 6 from there times X from there equals 24. Oh goodness. So 6x equals 24. Remember, because we talked about we don't put the little dot there. We can just read that as 6 times x equals 24. 6x over 6, 24, that's divided by 6. 24 divided by 6, x equals 4, and we can check and substitute in our answer. 6 times 4 is 24. So there were 4 people who split the cost of the CDs. Okay, here's another example. Thomas uses 4 cups of flour to make 2 loaves of banana bread. Write and solve a multiplication equation to find the number of cups of flour that are needed to make 1 loaf of bread. There's the answer. Solve 3 and 2800x equals 19 and 6800ths, and then check the solution. Okay, it's just decimals. It shouldn't intimidate us. Okay, it's just a dot in there. 3 and 28x, 3 and 28x. So you divide each side times 3 and 28, which is the coefficient, and divide the other side by of 19 and 6800ths by 3 and 2800ths, and our answer will be x equals 6. Now, if you don't already know that 3 and 2800ths is 19 and 6800ths, that might take you a few minutes to figure out, and that's okay. Write the equation. 3 and 2800ths times x, is that 19 and 6800ths? It is, so that sentence is true. Okay, so I want you to try this one and to check your solution. And that's the answer. Okay, how did what you learned today help you answer the essential question? How do you determine if 2 numbers or expressions are equal? What is it that we did today that helped us answer that question? Okay. Those are just some sample answers listed there. Okay, I would like you to solve the following equation and explain how you arrived at a solution. When you're done with that, I want you to write your whisk. Okay, you've watched it. Now I want you to summarize what we learned today and then write a question of your own based on this. And that is all for today. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.